Beb said. "That wouldn't matter." "Does your father have a machine gun?" Omar asked, raising his eyebrows. "He would take one of theirs." "My father says they are very bad men," Beb said, pressing home the point. He didn't think Gamyu's father would kill the Boko Haram rebels. In fact, he didn't think his father could kill anyone. He was a very small man with a withered arm. Beb wasn't even sure if he could hold a gun, but he didn't say anything. Lately, Beb had heard the news reports about unrest and conflict moving closer to their town, and the grown-ups talked about it all the time. He thought that they worried too much. Grown-ups always worried about stuff. Don't do this, don't do that, don't do the other. Life seemed to be a constant battle between what he wanted to do and what he was allowed to do. Being an adult was like being the fun police. He couldn't wait to grow up so he could do whatever he wanted. "How come you're off school?" Omar asked Beb. "They sent us home early." "Me too. My teacher says there's been trouble on the border." "Same for me." "Did you hear the news about all those schoolgirls being kidnapped?" Omar asked. Beb nodded, but Gamyu shook his head. "The television said they took 300 away." "Yes. My father said it was Boko Haram," Beb said, nodding. His father was very clever and rarely wrong. "How does he know?" "He is always talking about them. One of the girls taken was my mother's niece," Beb added. "Really? You knew one of them?" Omar asked, pushing his index finger up his nose. He pulled out a green bogey and inspected it before rolling it and flicking it away. "I don't know her. They're from near the border somewhere," Beb explained. "But she's your mother's niece?" "Yes." "So what relation is she to you?" "I don't know. Just my mother's niece, stupid." "Funny man." "So your father thinks it was Boko who took them?" Gamyu said, trying to get in on the conversation, although he had no idea what they were talking about. "Probably. Boko are bad men." Omar threw a stone at a tree as he spoke. "The worst, my father says." Beb agreed. Beb thought his father was the font of all knowledge. Whatever he said was correct as far as Beb was concerned. He had finished his medical degree in London and worked in a hospital there for 2 years. Beb was very proud that his father had studied and worked abroad. No one else in Monguno had a degree from England. As far as Beb was concerned, his father was the cleverest man in town, and that made Beb proud. He talked to Beb about things that he wouldn't discuss with his sisters. They were easily frightened. Beb and his father had discussed the activities of Boko Haram, the extremist militia that plagued the northeast of the country, attacking government targets and Christian settlements with increasing ferocity, before disappearing like ghosts across the borders into Niger, Chad, and Cameroon. They were also attacking the less fanatical Sunni Muslim communities, which was beyond Beb's comprehension. He did not understand why Muslims attacked Muslims. His father described it as being not Muslim enough. Beb had heard him talking about the approaching violence to his mother in hushed tones, thinking their children were asleep. He also heard him talking on the phone to his brother, who was also a doctor and still lived in London. They talked for hours, and his father would sigh and shake his head a lot during their conversations. Beb had never heard his father sound frightened before, but he sounded increasingly concerned lately. He was the rock on which the family stood strong, and it was unsettling to see him so worried. The cleverest man in Monguno should not be as rattled as he was. The fact that he was worried Beb. "My father's the same," Omar agreed, poking his finger up the other nostril. This time he came up with nothing to show for his troubles. "He talks about them all the time. My mother tells him to be quiet in case he frightens my sisters, but he doesn't listen to her. She starts to sing whenever he talks about them, so my sisters can't hear, but he just talks louder. So she sings louder. It's like a madhouse sometimes. I don't know who's worse." Beb turned his head when he heard an engine revving loudly. A car approached at high speed, traveling way too fast to take the bend safely. It careered towards the curve, back end twitching in the dust. The driver nearly lost control. He managed